So number one, when you start an enrollment conversation, I like to get the person talking when they show up. And so the first thing that I'm interested in is what inspired you to show up to the call. So I want to ask that question. It gets them talking. It's not a formal like break of like, okay, we're gonna get into the enrollment conversation today and blah 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 blah, and you just start. I like a little bit of small talk of like, hey, what inspired you to show up to the call? It's kind of a casual coffee talk thing, and they're like, I was kind of just curious about like what this marketing thing was about, and so I just showed up because it's marketing and it's free, and that's it. So I know they're here for marketing. I know they're here, it's free. Also, I got that. What else inspired you to show up? So I ask it a second time because I want to get a real answer. Like the general concept of marketing and it's free isn't really a real answer. They're probably not fully in present time. They're probably thinking about their last meeting and they're not really here. So I go, great, I get that. So talk to me. Like, what really inspired you to show up? And they go, I'm running a business. I'm in construction. I want to get more clients, and I don't know anything about online marketing. I got a business that's doing pretty well, and I want to get in the game. Okay, cool, sounds good. So great. Let me tell you what the intention for today's call is. My goal is just to help you on your goals and get clear on what you want. Number one. Number two, I would love to find out what really has got you stuck, or what your challenge is, or what you feel like is stopping you right now. There's always something stopping somebody from getting to where they want to go. Otherwise, you would be on this phone call. Number three, if all goes well, you like me, I like you like some of the things that I say, you think I can help you. At the end of the call, I'm going to lay out a plan and path for how we might be able to help you from a coaching perspective produce some results in your business. And so I'll make an offer at the end of how we could coach you or help you with some of our resources. Sound good? And they're like, yeah, sounds good. Okay, great. So let's get in. So tell me, what's your number one goal in the client talks? Now you can expect when doing this that you're not going to get a real deep answer most of the time in the enrollment conversation when you go, what's your number one goal? I want to grow my business. I want to get it to $4 million this year. We're at the $2 million mark. I'd like to double the company. Been stuck at that mark for a little while, and I'm looking for some ways to grow. Got it. So tell me a little bit more about that number one goal. Like, what specifically about making $4 million is important to you? Now they've told me I'm isolating something they tell me. So I write down the 4 million. I don't take notes when I'm doing stuff about their goal because I just remember everything. But if you can't remember everything, just take notes. But I just remember $4 million, and then I go, great. So on this point of $4 million, like what's important about making $4 million for the company this year? Well, you know what? I'd like some extra income. In fact, like we're doing okay, but our profitability is not really where I want it to be. And if I get to $4 million, I'll be more profitable and the company more profitable. Okay, great. So like, what does that mean for you if the company's more profitable? Well, for me, it means I get to take home more money. Great. And so how much more money would you take home? I'd probably take home, $500,000. Great. And so what would that mean for you and your family? Well, it would mean that I'd get to go do some things. Like what kind of things? Well, I get to go out and go on that family vacation we've been wanting to go on. In fact, we want to get a boat. Oh, where do you vacation? Oh, we've been vacation in Montana. Fantastic, right? Cool. What else? Well, like my kids are in sports. I like to spend a little more time watching their games and stuff. Cool. What else? What else? What else? And you just keep digging until you get something that's meaningful. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, great. So you want $4 million as a goal. You want to be more profitable. You want to spend more time with your kids because you want to watch their little league games. You want to get a boat. You want to spend more time in Montana. How about things for you and your spouse? Yeah, we like to travel together. What common interests do you guys have? We like to travel. We love watching the kids play their sports. It's like a passion of ours. So when we get to go to the games together, it really helps when I'm not working late. Good, I'm circling that. So I'm just listening for what's important. Okay. And I know $4 million, more profitable, more time with the wife, watching kids play sports, taking vacation. That's what I got. Okay. So I got the number one goal. I'm gonna go deeper and push for other things sometimes. Like, great. So any dreams or anything that you have beyond this business, of like if you made more money, it would afford you an opportunity to do something more. Yeah, I want to start another company. Great. What kind of company? Well, kind of this. Like, well, what I'm doing now is this, and then what I'd be doing with you is this. Great. Okay, cool, amazing. All right. Tell me about that goal. Well, I've always wanted to coach people. I've always wanted to do X, Y, Z. Fantastic. Well, what's the big challenge in the way of you doing that? Now I'm into the challenge part of the question. So all I've done in the first part is the goal. There's no rhyme or rhythm to the conversation. It's literally just a conversation of being curious. I will know that I got their hot buttons when the indicators go in, meaning the person all of a sudden is going from, yeah, I want to do this, and to, yeah, like we'd spend more time together. We go to Montana. We'd watch the kids play Little League. Once I get specificity and then I get a shift in the like emotional level of the person, meaning they went from upset to kind of interested, or they went from interested to kind of cheerful, or they went from bored to more interested. I just want to see a change in their demeanor. And the moment I see a change in their demeanor, I know that I'm getting somewhere. And I'm like, okay, cool. I got it. I got what I need, right? So we get through that in question 1, and then we start digging into their challenge in question 2. Great. So let's dive more into what's the challenge that's stopping you from accomplishing the 4 mil, but more importantly, spending time with the kids and the family, and starting up this new dream. Well, truth is, I just don't understand marketing. I built my business 100% on referrals, and I really, really, really don't know what I'm doing in this area. And if I had one thing that I want to figure out, it would absolutely 100% have to do with building a marketing system online. Great. So what's in the way? I don't know. What do you think? Have you tried this before? Yeah, I've dabbled on some stuff. Like what in particular? I bought some courses. What kind of courses? Some stuff on advertising, funnels, or whatever. Cool. You ever been coached at all, or anybody ever work with you privately or help you do it? No. Actually, no. I just bought some stuff online. Got it. Now, you and I both know that buying stuff online, I sell tons of products online. They're great to get information and knowledge. Did you get some knowledge from it? Yeah, I got some knowledge, right? What'd you learn? I learned that I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. I also learned that I want one of those things that brings in leads and clients. You call them a funnel. I'm like, cool. So you've got more awareness of what this thing is. You're actually solution aware. That's great. Sounds like you need somebody to hold your hand and actually do some private work with you. Is that right? They're like, yeah. Now what I'm doing there is just simple. I'm pre-selling what they need, and I'm letting them know and pointing out to them that online courses will get you so far, but for anybody to succeed in life, they need some help, and they need somebody to guide them, and they need somebody to show them the way. And I want to make sure in the enrollment conversation, the client understands that, and that we're on the same page. And if we're not on the same page at that point, I'm going to make sure that I educate them and inform them so we do get on the same page. Because I don't want to get to the pitch and all of a sudden somebody go, oh, I was expecting to be sold a $1,000 online course. I wasn't expecting for a $10,000 offer, a $30,000 offer, So midway, I'm already setting it up. Make sense? And that's really, really, really important. Okay. So sometimes people who have a low understanding of what it takes to be successful will believe that things are overnight, and will believe that all they need to do is just get the information, and if they just get the information, they'll succeed. Normally people at lower levels of success believe that because they've never persisted through to high levels of success. And if they've ever persisted to high levels of success, they know that it is a sometimes up and down journey with lots of challenges, lots of problems, and it requires lots and lots of persistence along a given line to actually succeed. So a successful person goes, yeah, like obviously, man, like I could go off and do this by myself, but I don't even know what I'm doing. And I could persevere and lose a lot of money, make a lot of mistakes, but I want to know from somebody who's doing it and who has done it. Now you have your high achiever who knows that, okay? Person who's middle of the line, nothing wrong with it. They just kind of have that glib attitude that is like, yeah, I already know it. I know that I don't know it, but I just need to get a little bit of information and I'm good. That's like, it's not very, they're not really taking things seriously at that point. That makes sense? Okay. So, and they're not taking things seriously because they don't know what the serious route to success is, and they don't know the right estimation of effort. Not that one should ever take anything really that seriously, just have fun with it, but the estimation of effort of how much work this is going to be, you want to educate them on that before you get to the end of the pitch, okay? So midway, I want to make sure I've got that loop closed. They're like, oh, I told, dude, that's why I'm here. I want one-on-one help. I want support. I've tried the other ways and it's not working for me. Great. Now I just want a course. Like I bought your course and I just want to know more about that course. Fantastic. Let's talk about this for a second. Okay. And then you handle that and they go, oh yeah, I could see how this, I would actually need some support on this. Okay. I understand what you're saying, Ted. Let's continue. Now you got them and you got the reality that they need support and you've pre-sold them on help and you've pre-sold them on coaching. And now you know that you're 50% more likely to get a close. Okay. All of this is happening around the challenge part. First part is what inspired you to show up at the call. Second part is what's your number one goal. Third part is what's the challenge. And the funny thing about the challenge is, of course, they're going to bring up the stops and the problems they faced around this subject. So it's a great time to address the online course thing or address that I can go do it by myself because going to do it by yourself hasn't worked out so well so far, right? You handle that. Once you're really clear on the specific challenge they're facing, you nail that, you circle it, great, totally got it. I know what your challenge is. Let's move on. So great. So now I know that you have these big goals. I know that this is like one of your top goals is this, and you showed up to this call because what I can help you with and what I'm helping with you is in line with your number one goal. In fact, you said it's really important to you. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed would you say you are to accomplishing your number one goal and getting a solution for it? And now the person's going to tell you. They might say something like, well, I'd say I'm an 8. Got it. Okay. So what would you say is stopping you from being at a 9 or a 10? Really just, I don't know what it takes to actually do this. Okay, cool. So assuming when we get to my offer in a few minutes about how I can help you, once I show you how we can help you and you actually have the path to get there, you think that moves you up on your commitment level to a 9 or a 10? Yeah, if it's the right path, it would move me there. Now I don't know what the path is. So great. So if you knew what the path was and you were quite certain that somebody like me could help you, would you be at a 9 or a 10? Yeah, I would. So would you say right now, knowing that I'm going to lay out a path for you, you're at a 9 or 10? Yeah, I would say I am. Great. Let's continue. If they're at a 6 or a 7 or whatever, I want to handle it because I don't want to make a pitch when somebody's at a 6 or a 7. Now, in getting into the pitch, I feel like I can move the needle on somebody who's at an 8, even a 7.5. I think I can move the needle to a 9 or a 10. But if they start being a 7, a 6, a 5, I don't want to go make a pitch on somebody who's not there. Okay? So I want to get them to 8, 9, 10-ish before I get into the pitch. Okay? I also don't expect that without data and information that somebody's going to be like, I'm so in and I'm so ready to take the field and do this solution and go after it. I don't expect that fully on somebody to be at a 10 unless they're already solution aware, they're already burning on their goal, and they have some idea of the estimation of effort on this. That's where you get your 10s. Mostly, you're going to get your 8s and your 9s. Totally fine, right? So then you get the commitment level, and then you say, great, so let me just recap what we just went over in our conversation today. First off, do you have any thoughts of anything we've been talking about or anything else you want to share? They're like, no, I think I'm good. Okay, cool. So number one, your number one goal is that you would like to get to 4 million. You want the business to be more profitable. You want to take some trips to Montana, get a boat, spend more time with your wife and watching the kids do Little League. And then you have a dream to start out this other business. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Cool. Your challenge of what's in the way of accomplishing that right now is that you don't understand this marketing stuff. You're solution aware. You know this funnel thing. You want some leads. And you've learned that in the last month or so, but you don't know how to do it. And you feel like you need some help and you need some private coaching. Yeah, that's right. Cool. And then you're at about an 8 or a 9. Where would you say you are right now? I'm leaning towards a 9 probably, but maybe I'm still hovering around an 8. Okay, cool. And you're there because you don't really know what the plan and path is right now. Is that correct? Yeah, cool. Great. So what I'd like to do is walk you through a plan and path to achieve your number one goal and help you get there.
So real quick before we go any deeper, if you're looking to scale online through one-to-many selling, whether it's podcasts, webinars, or even in-person stages, and you need a personal growth strategy to scale, you can click the link down below, book a call with one of my coaches. It's totally free, and we'll put together a plan for you. All right, let's get back to the content.
So what I'm going to do is introduce you to a system that I've created. It's called the XYZ system. And this is a system that I developed based on my life experience of doing this and helping, close to 50 million people around the world who've seen my stuff. And well, I should say we've reached 50 million people, and we've sold about close to 80,000 people have bought our stuff. And so, we've helped a lot of people. And so I want to make sure that we can help you and lay out the system and path that's helped many people came before you. Sound good? Yeah, sounds great. Great. So let's get into step number 1. Step number 1 is the XYZ step. And the step is going to help you do bop, bop, bop. It's very short, right? So ours might be, let's say we're selling like our message to millions training. It'd be like, step number 1 is to find your life story message and help you attract your perfect client. How do you think step number 1 would help you achieve your number 1? And so what's critical in this part is to actually get the customer to answer a how question. Okay, never a do you think this would help you achieve your number 1 goal. Never. You never ask that question, okay? Because all you're going to get is a yes or a no or a maybe. The purpose of this part of the presentation is to get the client to say how. How will this step in my blueprint help you achieve your number 1 goal of $4 million and this, and that? And then they see, oh, wow, if I had a story and a message, I would be clear and I could go online and this would be amazing, right? And then if I could go online and I felt good about my message, I'd be more confident and I'd be more willing to forge ahead and really stick to this because I felt good about what I was saying. Cool. So now what the client is doing is they're selling me on the number 1 step. And they're telling me why they need this system as it relates to their goals. Okay. If I just said, do you think this would help you achieve your number 1 goal? Yeah. And the yeah means I'm not listening. It's just like a machine running, just going yeah, right? So the only way you know if somebody's listening is if they duplicated the question and got it, and if they gave an appropriate answer to the question, which means answering the question, you know they're in the conversation and they understand. So in many ways, it's a test to see if they're listening. In many ways, it's getting them to sell themselves on their number 1 goal. And in many ways, it's getting them to talk, to break up the presentation so they speak versus you just speaking. Okay? So you go through step 1, you do the same thing with step 2. Hey, step 2 is about creating a program and, packaging that program and pricing that program so that you can attract your perfect client. Okay? How do you think step number 2 would help you solve your big challenge? They tell you. Now, if they go, yeah, they weren't listening. If they go, oh, I think it would be great. They probably didn't hear the question. Hey, let me repeat the question. How do you think this step of bop, bop, bop would help you achieve your challenge of bop, bop, bop? Oh, that. Okay, yeah. Bop, 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 bop. Okay? Really important that you repeat things and you get the answers, because particularly in a field like yours that they're new to, they're going to have words they don't understand. And when people have words they don't understand, they start to blank out, right? Like if they have words they don't understand, they'll go past the word, and everything you say after that, they're not really going to get. So we're not trying to teach them how to be like a world-class student in this conversation. What we are trying to do is get them to understand the question, understand what I'm saying, and then at the same time, give me an answer to the question and sell themselves on the process. So you do that with step 2, you do that with step 3, and then at step 3, they're pretty much sold. That's it, You've accomplished what you want to accomplish, which is getting them to understand in very simple terms. Here's step 1, 2, 3. I got it. Here's how it's going to help me achieve my number 1 goal. I'm selling you on how your system now, Ted, is going to help me achieve my goal. I'm selling myself on it simultaneously. And I'm interested because I'm answering questions of how your program relates to my number 1 goal, which is the appropriate line of conversation. Because when they're new to you and your community, they don't know anything about your stuff. So in the first thing where you're selling them for the first time ever, this is the most important way to do sales, because now you're selling them for the first time ever, and now they're starting to understand how you do it. So that's how you do it. I won't get into on this week, like, okay, now that you're doing this, how do you position the price? How do you position the rest of the steps? If you have a 7-step blueprint, you would gloss over the final 4 steps very briefly. But if you got them at steps 1 through 3, you gloss over the other steps. Step 4, we do this, 5 this, 6 this, 7 this, great. But it sounds like it's something you're ready to get started on. Yeah, well, no, I need to know what the investment is, Sometimes in the middle of this, people will go, what's the cost? Happened to me last week on a higher end deal that we closed. Somebody was asking, I just want to know what's the cost. I'm like, great, now is not the time for that. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But before we get into the cost, I want to make sure you understand how this can help you and really what we're trying to accomplish here. We'll get there soon, no problem, right? So you never take the bait on. Sounds like you might be a little hesitant or uncertain about how this might help you. Is there anything you don't understand? Is there something I said that's unclear? Let me just clarify anything. I get this is a new subject. Can I clarify anything for you that you might have misunderstood? Yeah, I didn't know what that thing was. Oh yeah, it's blah, 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 blah. You explain it to them, they get it, they should brighten up. If they don't brighten up, if they don't really understand, just find out what they don't understand and help them understand it. Once they've understood, they should be excited again. Hey, anything else that you're unsure of or anything that you're uncertain of as it relates to your goals? Is there anything you want to talk to before I get into investment? No, I'm ready. I'm excited to hear about this, okay? People don't need to be excited to go into the pitch. Some people just don't get excited. It's their natural way of being. They don't ever get excited. A person who is, goes through life sometimes in a bored state is not necessarily going to get excited on a call with you. They might go like from bored to, that's not really excited. It's kind of like mildly content, right? They're not going to go there. So don't expect everybody to get excited. Your people are enthusiastic. Be like, oh, this is really cool. I'm excited. Great. They're excited to go. So know where somebody is, know how high they can go in terms of their expression, assess that. And once you know that, you'll know when you got them.
So if you're serious about scaling your business online and you want help with my one-to-many selling method to sell on podcasts or webinars or virtual stages or in person, then click the link down below and book a free strategy call. My coaches will help you implement it. We've worked with over 30,000 businesses on these very same strategies. Click it down below and go book. See you soon.